Are you searching for personal development, motivation, self-help, success? Scott Oldford. Well, you've come to the right place. Hang on.
Welcome to the Expect Success Podcast, a presentation of GeorgeBalek.com with your host, George Balek. This podcast is for all things personal development. Don't expect success, prepare for it. Please welcome your host, George Balek.
Welcome to Expect Success at GeorgeBalek.com. Now, in addition to listening to our podcast, you could also view the video format on YouTube at GeorgeTube.com. Scott Oldford, a top business advisor and mentor, developed various frameworks to scale online businesses. Having helped scale hundreds of businesses past 7 figures, his work has been seen by over 10 million entrepreneurs worldwide. Now, since he's been an entrepreneur since he was a kid and owned a number of 7+ figure businesses, he's able to offer a rare behind-the-scenes perspective as a mentor and advisor who's, as they say, been there and done that. Listen to Scott.
All right, so there's 6 pillars. I talk about this in my book, The Nuclear Effect. There's 6 pillars of the business. There's marketing, there's sales, finance, mindset, operations, and delivery. It kind of works a little bit like a seesaw. If you don't have marketing and sales figured out, you're screwed. You don't have a business. You can have as good of operations and as delivery as you want, and all you really have is a cool system that nobody cares about. Marketing and sales also is probably one of the best skills on the planet if you want to have the life that you want to have. If you can understand how to articulate something to another human being, right? Because marketing and sales, all it is communication, right? So people are like, well, I don't know marketing and sales. I'm like, well, if you want to have a good relationship with your partner, if you want a good relationship with your kids, if you want a good relationship with your friends, if you want basically, forget about business, if you just want a good life, instead of being like, oh, well, I can't do that or I'm not good at that, get good at it. I wasn't good at it when I started at all, whatsoever. I was like the kid no one talked to. Probably motivation, more than likely motivation, to be able to get good at it. And I did. And so marketing and sales, the ability to take immediate attention and put it towards a relevant signal. Without that, you don't have a business. On the opposite side, operations and delivery and team, if all you have is good marketing, well, you're a one-trick pony. If all you have is good marketing, then no one's really going to ever buy from you again. You're not going to have any good lifetime value. People aren't going to refer to you. Quite simply, you're going to never really have a long-term success. You'll never be able to scale because marketing and sales only bring you so far. You actually have to have substance of what it is that you do. Now, I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and they're either really good at marketing and sales or they're really good at operations and delivery. If you're really good at marketing and sales, you will potentially build a business that completely blows up and implodes if you don't get operations and delivery right. And if you have operations and delivery, I have a lot of great people that are, engineer, like their brain is just more engineer oriented. But the problem is that each one of these people don't really like the other kind of side, right? So the engineers and the operators, they don't really like marketing and sales, and the marketing and sales, they just want to be out selling shit. So if you want to have a really successful business, you kind of got to get your shit together and ensure that both of them are aligned. And then in the middle of this is making sure that from your own mindset perspective, you're not bringing in the beliefs of your parents. You're not bringing in the beliefs of society, that you're actually intentional about what you're thinking. Because I guarantee you, if you look at the media or the news feed or whatever it might be, you're going to be seriously fearful and your mindset's going to be terrible for being able to actually build a business. And then all of this wraps together, which is, if you don't keep your money in order, if you don't keep your money right, you're also not going to have a business. You're either going to go bankrupt or you're going to go broke. The interesting part of this is generally, most entrepreneurs that I find that have any momentum are good at 2 of these. They struggle with the others. And if you want a business that actually has momentum and builds, and you don't have all of these sort of aligned, you're building your business on house cards. Generally, what happens is I see a lot of the time entrepreneurs put themselves into the victimhood of saying, well, no one ever taught me finance, or I give that to my accountant, or I give that to my financial advisor, right? Or when it comes to marketing and sales, well, I'm going to hire an agency, or I'm going to hire someone to run ads for me. And when it comes to delivery, well, I'm just going to hire a COO. If you ever want to have success, long-term success, you have to be responsible for every single part. Now, you don't have to do. There's a difference between responsibility and doing. But if you are trying to outsource responsibility, as you're scaling a business. It doesn't work. Flat out, doesn't work. Now, you can outsource and you can delegate and these different types of things, but here's what people try to do. They're trying to say, well, you know what? I'm really good. I'm a creative. I'm really good at delivering things. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet, awesome. They're like, but I'm not great at marketing, and I can't read a balance sheet or a P&L, and I hate paying bills. I'm like, okay, keep being broke forever. Fine. We either get good at being able to understand these things, and as an entrepreneur, we take complete ownership of the responsibility of them, understand how they work, and then outsource and delegate it to somebody else so that we don't have to do it, but we understand it and we keep the responsibility behind it. Why? Because you know what? No marketing agency is going to market as best as you because you have the passion. No one's going to care about your money as much as you because it's your energy, it's your money. No salesperson is going to sell as good as you because you have conviction and they're just trying to make money. And so what ends up happening is we get on this wonderful hamster wheel because we don't actively take responsibility for the pillars in our business, much like there are pillars in our life, right? If we don't take responsibility for and with our significant other, more than likely we're going to have a divorce. And so it's this lack of responsibility, this lack of trying to outsource responsibility because you're overwhelmed, because it feels big, because it's intense, that makes it so that you can't scale your business. You show me any entrepreneur, and in less than 60 seconds, I can tell you exactly where the person is not owning the responsibility inside of this, and then very quickly be able to actually help them change that and shift that if they're open to that. Hamster wheel then occurs because if you're really good at marketing and you're not good at operations delivering, you don't solve that. You don't take responsibility for that. You're just always marketing and selling because you're losing customers all day long. If you're not good at being able to actually manage finances, you're having to go out and sell more because you're not actually managing the finances and you don't understand how to utilize projections, and you're paying way too much taxes because you didn't take enough time to be able to go and learn how taxes work. But if you want to get off the hamster wheel, it's about being able to have responsibility for these pillars.
That's awesome. Now, for more from Oldford, simply search YouTube and be sure to visit his website, scottolford.com. You can get Scott's book, The Nuclear Effect, at his website or Amazon.com. And I'll be sure to leave a link in the show notes. And remember, as the late great Jim Rohn used to say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today you've been hanging out with Scott Oldford. Keep up the momentum. Subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss another episode. We'll catch you on the next show. And thanks a million for listening. See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Expect Success Podcast with your host, George Balek. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please rate, subscribe, and review. And find more great content online at georgebalek.com and on Facebook and Twitter at George Balek. We'll catch you next time. And remember, don't just expect success, prepare for it.